Welcome back, comic book fans. This week we're going to look at a much maligned Batman villain, one that started in absolute campiness and ended up in the realm of Hannibal Lecter. Of course, we're talking about the Calendar Man. Created by Bill Finger and Sheldon Moldoff in 1958, Calendar Man's first appearance was in Detective Comics issue number 259. This would be his only appearance for the next 28 years until his literary resurrection in 1979 in Batman issue number 312. Yes, his first storyline is campy. It was the turn of the decade into the 60s, just 6 years prior to the now beloved Adam West-led Batman TV series, and there's no doubt that the Calendar Man would have fit in perfectly with that dynamic duo. So let's get into it with the first ever challenge of the Calendar Man. We begin with Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson reading what all of Gotham is talking about. A letter has been sent to the Gotham Gazette from a mysterious new criminal, the Calendar Man, and he's calling out the Batman, promising to commit 5 robberies corresponding to the 5 seasons within the next 5 days. Wait a minute, 5 seasons? There aren't 5 seasons, there's only 4. Batman tells Robin that they'll worry about that later. He has a hunch that the Calendar Man will strike with spring first. Therefore, his target must be the Gotham Exhibition Hall and the International Garden Show. As Batman and Robin enter, they see a man dressed as Spring in a flower costume. I told you this would be campy. It must be the Calendar Man. He and his thugs race to the balcony to escape. Pursuing them up a scale model of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Batman is able to catch up and land a single blow to the spring-themed thief. Sensing defeat, the Calendar Man flees to the roof and jumps off into a waiting getaway car. But surely even he knows he cannot outrun the Batmobile. And for some reason, the Calendar Man stops for red lights. Go figure. Our master criminal then turns into traffic while spraying the red traffic light with green paint, causing all 4 ways of the intersection to converge onto each other, successfully blocking off any chance the Batmobile has of staying on the Calendar Man's tail. The evening newspapers report the results of Batman's first attempt to meet the Calendar Man's challenge, and the Calendar Man himself revels in the idea that the Batman will never figure out that the 5th season is a clue to his real identity. Meanwhile, Robin is still perplexed by the idea of a 5th season, to which Batman tells him to not worry and focus on summer. Which means baseball? Beaches? Ah, pretty girls in bathing suits. The next target must be the Gotham Bathing Beauty Contest tomorrow. First prize, $50,000. It's a good thing Bruce Wayne is one of the judges. The next day at the Gotham Hotel's indoor swimming pool, Bruce Wayne keeps one eye on the parade of beautiful women and one eye out for the Calendar Man. At that same time, a miniature sun-like craft descends from the sky onto the hotel. This time, the Calendar Man is dressed as the intense heat of summer. He touches the pool water and it evaporates into a cloud of steam, obscuring everything like a dense fog. As Bruce and Dick slip away to change into their costumes, the Calendar Man and his men steal the prize money. The dynamic duo use the diving board to launch them over the pool and into the Calendar Man's henchmen. The Calendar Man then uses a powerful TV light to temporarily blind our heroes, giving him just enough time to escape to the terrace. As Batman and Robin chase after him, the Calendar Man uses his special suit to heat the concrete terrace to the temperature of a stovetop, slowing the Caped Crusaders down. Batman instructs Robin to use the pennant poles on the side of the hotel to swing across that hot surface. They have the Calendar Man trapped now. He is ducked into a hallway, but when they see the criminal, he's just standing still, and he's starting to glow intensely. The Batman tells Robin to back off. The Calendar Man is generating fire. However, the Batman is resourceful and uses a rug to roll up the Calendar Man, snuffing out the flames. But when they unwrap the now extinguished criminal, they realize it is a decoy, a dummy with a heat generator installed. And this distraction gave the Calendar Man the opportunity to get away with all of the prize money. We next see the Calendar Man enjoying his stolen loot and still mocking Batman for not figuring out the secret of the 5th season, while the dynamic duo are focused on the next season, Autumn, instead of the embarrassing headline sure to be in the newspapers. The following day, without warning, a powerful gust of wind wreaks havoc on the streets of Gotham. It is the Calendar Man, now dressed as Autumn, using a wind machine to blind onlookers and armored car guards with stinging dust and debris, and the Batman is too late to arrive to stop the crime. And now even the citizens of Gotham believe the Batman has finally met his match. Back at the Batcave, the Batman now believes that the secret to stopping the Calendar Man is to solve the riddle of the 5th season. But Robin now reminds him that the winter crime is tomorrow, to which the Batman deduces must be the Gotham Diamond exhibit. Sure enough, the Batman was correct. Fake snow begins to rain down from the ventilator grates, and the Calendar Man, now dressed as a snowman, appears. He sets his sights on the biggest diamond in the hall, but Batman and Robin surprise him. They were hidden inside a papier-mâché diamond all along, and they spring their trap. The Batman takes out Calendar Man's goons while Robin goes after the crime boss himself. Outside, the Calendar Man has used a street cleaner to wet the concrete before even committing the crime. And now, using a concentrated cold gun, he turns the surface to ice, kicks off his boots to reveal ice skates, and darts away from the Boy Wonder. Meanwhile, the Batman is on the roof and sees a billboard advertising skis. He swings over, puts on the skis, and drops down to the street. But the Calendar Man is still one step ahead. He boards a jet-propelled sled and speeds off. With just one day left for the Calendar Man's challenge, the dynamic duo search for a clue. Robin comments to Batman that you'd have to be a magician to figure it out. This lights up a thought in the Batman's mind. The Gotham Gazette had an article about a magician the same day the Calendar Man issued his challenge, appearing only for 5 days before leaving for Europe. Maharaja, the magician. It couldn't just be a coincidence, could it? In the dressing room of the Maharaja at the Bijou Theater, our star attraction gloats that tomorrow, the 5th season, will be him seeding the clouds with dry ice to make it rain. A voice then shouts, "Tomorrow you'll be in jail." Batman and Robin have burst through the door. The Maharaja uses his turban as a weapon, then flees. The Batman notices a calendar of theater events on the wall. He takes it and hurls it at the fleeing criminal, remarking, "How ironic, a calendar tripping up the Calendar Man." As the dynamic duo arrests the Maharaja, Batman tells the Maharaja that his next calendar date will be on the court calendar. Robin asked about the 5th season. What did it mean? The Batman explains that in India, natives referred to the monsoon season or rainy season as the 5th season. That added up with this magician with an Indian name. He must have been the Calendar Man. From there, the Calendar Man disappears until June of 1979 and Batman issue number 312. This time, dressed very different. For the story, a caper a day keeps the Batman away. We open this issue with the Whirly Bat hovering outside the Gotham Museum because it has just been robbed by the Calendar Man, who is escaping on his supercharged motorcycle, dressed as the Norse god Odin. As he rides off, he tells us today, Wednesday, is named after Odin, the god of wisdom. Batman recognizes that even the 8-wheeled cycle Calendar Man is riding is modeled after Odin's 8-legged horse. And as Calendar Man approaches an underpass in certain escape, Batman fires smoke bombs to change his direction. It works for a moment, but Calendar Man exclaims that he has learned a lot since his last meeting all those years ago, and like Odin, who sacrificed an eye for knowledge, he has sacrificed an eye for power. Calendar Man then expels a powerful blast of energy and destroys the Whirly Bat, sending Batman falling to the sidewalk below. But the Batman is quick enough to use his cape to glide onto the back of Calendar Man's cycle. But our criminal mastermind pushes a button, setting off small charges on the cycle itself, separating the 6-wheeled chassis from the 2-wheeled bike. The Calendar Man escapes, and the Batman barely avoids exploding against the brick wall as the uncontrolled chassis crashes into it. The Batman then ruminates on the previous 2 days' crimes that the Calendar Man has already committed. On Monday, he hit the Gotham Planetarium, dressed as the moon since Monday is named for that celestial body. He stole priceless stamps from the NASA moon mission and left his calling card. On Tuesday, he robbed the Gotham's Museum of Military Antiques, dressed as Tu, the ancient god of war, from where Tuesday gets its name, using an electrified sword to steal Ulysses S. Grant's Civil War medals. Now this Wednesday crime, and at all the other scenes he's left mocking notes for the Batman, making this a personal grudge match between the two of them. And as Wednesday turns to Thursday at 2:22 a.m., 3 men enter a national defense installation, knock the guards out with nerve gas pumped through the ventilation system, and as the mysterious boss looks on, one of his men steals the binary code that controls the U.S. missile defense system. At 8:23 p.m. that night, the Batman waits. He has surveillance on any possible Thursday-themed target the Calendar Man could possibly want. Commissioner Gordon approaches him, tells the Batman that if they don't catch the Calendar Man tonight, they will on Sunday, because the only thing to steal on that day would be the golden obelisk of the Egyptian sun god Ra. Just then, the Batman's alarms go off. The Calendar Man is struck, and with that, he glides away from the rooftop. At 8:51 p.m. at the Van Dyke Art Gallery, the Calendar Man softly whistles as he studies the paintings he passes by until getting to the Storm King. He cuts it from the frame, rolls it up, and strolls outside. The Batman is waiting for him, but the Calendar Man reminds him that Thursday is named after the Norse god of thunder, and he hurls his own version of the hammer of Thor at the Bat. He misses and the Batman descends upon his foe. As Calendar Man absorbs Batman's punches, he touches a button on the side of his helmet. It sends out an ultrasonic pulse that dogs begin to hear, and they begin to howl. And soon it begins to affect the Batman. Like ultrasonic thunder, it begins to shatter his brain. Desperate to try and move, the Batman picks up the hammer Calendar Man first threw and launches it back at him, destroying his helmet and turning off the ultrasonic pulse. But the Batman is still weak and the damage has been done, and he's unable to get up. The Calendar Man recognizes this and he stalks his prey, but the Batman is saved by the sound of approaching police sirens. Commissioner Gordon helps up his friend, telling him to wait until Sunday, when they're sure to get their man, but the Batman doesn't ever quit. We next see Bruce Wayne in bed in his penthouse apartment. Dr. Dundee is checking him over and tells him he will need bed rest for the next few weeks, or else the damage done by Calendar Man may become permanent. And after the doctor leaves, Bruce gets up to go back to the Batcave, except Alfred forces him back to rest. Meanwhile, Calendar Man is now dressed for Friday as the goddess Frigga, goddess of love and the future. He attacks a high-class society wedding and makes off with a fortune in jewels and silver. The week turns to Saturday morning, 11:43 a.m. Lucius Fox is with Bruce Wayne discussing business. Lucius tells him that he'll be away, traveling on the Western Sun Express. As he leaves, Alfred enters with a bowl of chicken soup. Bruce lets out a disappointed whoopee. At 8:26 p.m. that night, Calendar Man, dressed as Saturn, god of agriculture, robs an ecology benefit rally at Gotham Square Garden. He then exits laughing. Sunday morning rolls around. Bruce tries again to leave, but Alfred stops him. Commissioner Gordon is waiting to apprehend Calendar Man, and Lucius is taking care of business. He has no reason to go anywhere. With this, Bruce has a revelation, then orders Alfred to call Selina Kyle to break their date tonight as a distraction, one he uses to slip away from Alfred and don the Batman suit once again. It's 12:23 p.m. at Gotham Central Station. A man is boarding the Western Sun Express, a porter carrying his case, when a voice tells him that the case will not be going anywhere. The man turns in astonishment to see the Batman perched above him on a train top. The unknown man is the Calendar Man. He demands to know how he found him. The Batman answers, Sunday is a day of rest, a perfect day to skip town. Not giving up easily, Calendar Man opens the book he's carrying. Calendar pages shoot out and swirl around the Batman like a hurricane. He then runs into a nearby tunnel. The Batman finds articles of the Calendar Man's clothing as he pursues. The Calendar Man has changed into a new outfit to fight the Bat. They engage each other and wrestle on top of train tracks as a speeding locomotive approaches. Calendar Man breaks free, but the Batman's foot is caught between the rails. He cannot free it and sacrifices his boot in order to avoid certain death. But the Calendar Man is too far ahead. The Batman whips a batarang at the crossing signal just ahead of the fleeing criminal. The Calendar Man laughs as he thinks the Batman is slipping and has now missed his target. But the weapon is attached to a zip line, and the Batman pulls the string, swinging the metal sign directly into the face of the Calendar Man, knocking him out. His crime spree now over. Our last page reveals that the crime at the National Defense Institute on Thursday at 2:22 a.m. was not the work of Calendar Man. A two-door sedan, a split-level house, a suburban neighborhood. The man who heisted the binary codes for the U.S. missile system was none other than Harvey Dent, otherwise known as Two-Face. Thus ends Batman issue number 312, but we are not done with the evolution of Calendar Man just yet. 1996 brought us the 13-issue Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale epic, Batman: The Long Halloween, and the Calendar Man most of us have come to know and love. The Long Halloween follows a year-long investigation into the crimes of the holiday killer, where every murder is committed on a holiday, such as Halloween or Christmas, and involves almost every villain in Batman's rogues gallery. Since the theme of these crimes are calendar-based, the Batman and Commissioner Gordon decide to consult with an expert. On Christmas Eve, they go to Arkham Asylum to visit with Julian Day, the Calendar Man. They offer Julian to reduce his sentence to time served if he's able to help. Julian, bathed in hospital white, barefoot, his floor covered with discarded calendar pages, begins to speak cryptically, calling the killer a her, then a he, then rattling off minor holidays, such as President's Day, which is in February, 2 months away. And this is Julian's way of telling the Batman that this will go on for a long, long time. Julian is obsessed. He is fixated and controlled by the order and inevitability of the passage of time, of how humans keep to certain rituals to mark their lives. He is quiet, he is measured, he is broken, but he is able to figure out the identity of Holiday before the Batman, but he refuses to give him anything but puzzling morsels of insight. Now, although Calendar Man is still just a minor player in the Long Halloween compared to the others, it is his evolution that moves him so far away from what he originally started as. No longer is he gimmicky or clownish, he's a true psychotic, a true threat if ever to get out again. And this haunting, intelligent maniac is the Batman villain we are left with as the 20th century concluded. I hope you enjoyed this look back at the first appearance and evolution of the Calendar Man, a villain ripe for a great resurgence. Next week we'll dive into the crimes of Batman's greatest villain, maybe the greatest villain ever imagined in all of pop culture, the Joker. I hope you'll join us for that. However, if you need more comic book fun, click on the thumbnail at the end of this video for our recap of one of the Batman's most disturbed villains, Professor Pig, and everybody's favorite DC zombie, Solomon Grundy. I thank you for watching. Until next time, from somewhere south of the border, I'm still your reluctant gringo, Salud, and I'll wave-o.